Saved by a teen hero, alien girl vows to reunite their interstellar bond. Defies time. The shuttle screamed as it tore through Kepler 442b's atmosphere, a blazing comet against the alien sky. Metal groaned, sparks flew, and the air burned with the sharp tang of scorched circuits. Inside, Ethan Cole, 15 years old, clung to the co-pilot's chair, his knuckles white. The control panel flashed red, alarms shrieking in a chaotic symphony. His heart pounded, each beat echoing the memory of his sister's voice. Stay, sharp Ethan, before the Vrax Armada took her. The silver pendant around his neck, etched with her name, felt heavy against his chest. The ship slammed into the ground, carving a jagged star through the emerald forest. Trees glowed with bioluminescent light, their leaves rustling like distant waves. Ethan coughed, the air thick with smoke and the sweet, metallic scent of alien sap. He stumbled from the wreckage, his boots sinking into soft, glowing moss. The forest pulsed, alive, its blue-green radiance casting eerie shadows. Somewhere, a low hum vibrated, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. "Gotta move," Ethan muttered, his voice rough. His recklessness, born from losing his sister, pushed him forward. Waiting for rescue wasn't his style. He adjusted the pendant, its cool metal grounding him, and scanned the horizon. The forest stretched endlessly, its towering trees draped in shimmering webs of light. Then, a scream pierced the air, sharp, desperate, unmistakably alive. Ethan froze, his pulse racing. The sound came again, closer, followed by the harsh buzz of plasma rifles. He ducked behind a glowing trunk, peering through the foliage. A figure sprinted into view. A woman, her silver skin catching the forest's light. Her violet eyes wide with fear. Her hair, like optic fibers, shimmered with each frantic step. She was Lumari, Ethan realized, one of the planet's natives. Behind her, 3 armored mercenaries closed in, their rifles spitting electric arcs. Their laughter grated, cold and predatory. "She's fast, but not fast enough," one growled, his voice muffled by a helmet. Ethan's stomach twisted. He was no soldier, just a kid on a survey. He'd seen what those weapons could do. His hands shook, but he couldn't just watch. "Think, Ethan." His eyes darted to the wreckage. A broken flare gun lay half buried in the dirt, its casing cracked, but intact. He scrambled over, prying it free. His fingers fumbled, slick with sweat. The mercenaries were gaining, their shots sizzling against the trees. The Lumari woman tripped, her ankle caught in a glowing root. She hit the ground hard, scrambling to her feet as the leader raised his rifle. Ethan's mind raced. He'd built gadgets with his dad, jury-rigged fixes for the expedition's gear. He could make this work. He tore open the flare gun, exposing its wiring. A spark of hope flared. "Come on." He yanked a battery from his wristcom, shoved it into the casing and aimed. The device whined, unstable. "Please don't blow up." "Hey, uglies," Ethan shouted, stepping into the open. The mercenaries spun, startled. He pulled the trigger. A blinding red flare erupted, screaming toward them. It exploded in a shower of sparks, engulfing the group in smoke and fire. The mercenaries yelled, stumbling back, their shots going wild. The Lumari woman seized her chance. She lunged, faster than Ethan could track, her movements a blur. A blade of light extended from her wrist, slicing through the leader's armor like paper. He crumpled, screaming. The second mercenary fired, but she spun, dodging with inhuman grace. Her blade flashed again, and he fell, silent. The third turned to run, but she hurled a glowing orb from her belt. It detonated, enveloping him in a web of crackling energy. He dropped, twitching. Ethan stood, mouth dry, the flare gun smoking, in his hands. The woman turned, her violet eyes locking onto him. Her silver skin shimmered, intricate patterns pulsing faintly. She stepped closer, her gaze sharp, assessing. Ethan gripped the flare gun, his heart hammering. "Don't do anything, stupid Ethan. You saved me," she said, her voice melodic, like chimes in the wind. Her English was flawless, tinged with an accent he couldn't place. A human. Unexpected. Yeah," Ethan stammered, lowering the gun. "Didn't want to see it turned into whatever they were planning." Her lips curved, a faint smile. "Brave. Reckless." She tilted her head, studying him. "What is your name, human?" "Ethan." "Ethan Cole." He swallowed, trying to sound steady. "You?" "Silvara," she said, her eyes softening. "I am an outcast among my people. My studies of your kind are forbidden." Her voice carried a weight, a flicker of defiance. She stepped closer, her presence electric. "You have changed my path, Ethan Cole." Before he could respond, she leaned in, her breath cool against his cheek. "Return when you are grown, warrior," she whispered. "We will reshape the stars." Her fingers brushed his pendant, lingering for a heartbeat. Then she turned, vanishing into the glowing forest, her form blending with the light. Ethan stood, frozen, his skin tingling where she touched him. The air hummed, the forest alive with secrets. A faint beep broke his trance. His wrist calm, picking up a rescue signal. He glanced at the trees where Silvara had disappeared. Reshape the stars? His recklessness stirred, a fire kindling in his chest. But as he turned to leave, a shadow moved in the distance, a sleek, metallic form, its red eyes glinting through the trees. The hum in the air grew louder, menacing. Ethan's grip tightened on the flare gun. Something was watching, and it wasn't human. 10 years had passed, but the memory of Silvara's violet eyes burned in Ethan Cole's mind. The hum of the emerald forest, the electric pulse of her touch. They haunted him, a beacon through the haze of loss. His sister's death in the Vrax Armada's attack had carved a wound that never healed, turning him reckless, distrustful. Now, at 24, he stood on the bridge of a sleek Earth Alliance shuttle, the silver pendant around his neck glinting under the cold lights. The wormhole gate loomed ahead, a swirling vortex of blue and white, its low drone vibrating through the hull. Kepler 442b in 30 seconds. The pilot called, voice clipped. "You sure about this, Cole? That planet's a powder keg." Ethan smirked, masking the churn in his gut. "Sure as I'll ever be." His fingers brushed the pendant, grounding him. He wasn't here for the Alliance's survey mission. He was here for her, for Silvera's promise to reshape the stars. The shuttle lurched as it exited the gate, Kepler 442b's green-blue orb filling the viewport. The emerald forest sprawled below, its bioluminescent glow cutting through the twilight. Ethan's heart raced, a mix of anticipation and dread. The airlock hissed, and he stepped onto the planet's surface, boots crunching on glowing moss. The air was heavy, laced with the sweet tang of alien sap and a faint metallic bite. Trees towered overhead, their leaves whispering like a distant tide. "Finder," Ethan muttered, his voice low. He adjusted his pulse rifle, its weight familiar but not comforting. The Alliance had trained him well. Pilot, tactician, survivor. But his recklessness lingered, a spark ready to ignite. His scanner beeped, picking up a faint signal from a Lumari settlement. He trekked through the forest, the hum of unseen creatures prickling his skin. The settlement emerged, organic spires curved like living sculptures, their surfaces pulsing with soft light. Lumari moved among them, their silver skin shimmering, their voices a melodic hum of electrical pulses. Ethan's pulse translator, strapped to his wrist, buzzed faintly, struggling to decode their communication. He spotted her near a glowing fountain, her optic fiber hair catching the light. Silvera. Her violet eyes scanned a holographic display, her movements precise, deliberate. She was older now, her presence commanding, but the patterns on her silver skin still danced with emotion. Ethan's breath caught. She was no longer the fugitive he'd saved. She was a leader, an outcast who'd carved her own path. "Hey, Silvara," he called, stepping forward, his voice rougher than intended. Heads turned, Lumari staring with unreadable eyes. Silvara froze, her display flickering out. Her gaze locked onto him, sharp, assessing. "Ethan Cole," she said, her voice like chimes, tinged with surprise. "You returned." Her eyes flicked to his pendant, a flicker of recognition crossing her face. Warrior groaned. "Yeah, well, if you said something about reshaping stars." Ethan grinned, but his stomach twisted. The weight of 10 years hung between them. "Figured I'd see what that's about." Silvara's lips curved, a cautious smile. "You are bold, reckless, still." She stepped closer, her presence electric. My people shun me for studying your kind. They call humans chaotic, untrustworthy. Yet you saved me. Ethan shrugged, hiding his unease. Didn't seem right to let you die. His fingers twitched, itching to act, to move. So, what's this about? The stars thing? Her expression darkened. The Vrax Armada, she said, her voice low. A cybernetic species driven by their leader, Clive, to achieve perfection. They crave our light stream, the collective, consciousness binding Lamari and your wormhole gates. With both, they believe they can rebuild their lost civilization. Ethan's jaw tightened. The Varax, the ones who'd taken his sister. Sounds like trouble. What's your plan? Silvara hesitated, her patterns dimming. The Unity Trials, she said. A Lamari ritual to prove an outsider's worth. Pass them, and my people may accept an alliance against the Vrax. Fail, and we stand alone. Ethan nodded, his recklessness stirring. Count me in. But as he spoke, a Lamari elder approached. Thera, her green-tinted skin glowing faintly, her golden eyes stern. She spoke in rapid pulses, the translator buzzing with fragments. Human. Intrusion. Forbidden. Silvara's voice sharpened, responding in kind. Ethan caught the tension, the way other Lumari watched, some with curiosity, others with hostility. He shifted, his hand brushing his rifle. Not the time to screw this up. Thera turned to him, her gaze piercing. You disrupt our harmony, she said, her English halting. Prove your worth, or leave. Ethan opened his mouth, but his recklessness took over. Your harmony's great, but it didn't save Silvara from those mercs 10 years ago. The words spilled out, brash, unfiltered. A ripple of shock passed through the crowd. Silvara's eyes widened, her patterns flaring red. You dare mock our ways, she snapped, stepping closer. Her voice cut like glass, but her eyes held a flicker of hurt. You know nothing of our sacrifices. Ethan's chest tightened. He'd meant to challenge, not insult. I didn't mean, he started, but Silvara turned away, her hair shimmering with agitation. Prepare for the trials, she said, her tone cold. We speak no more tonight. Ethan stood, the weight of his mistake sinking in. The crowd dispersed, their whispers a low hum. He glanced at his translator, its screen flickering. Great job, Ethan. His pendant felt heavier, a reminder of his sister's voice urging caution and never heeded. But as he turned to leave, a figure lingered in the shadows. A Lumari warrior, his gray skin stark, his red eyes glowing. Zikor. His voice was a low growl, barely audible. You're the destroyer they warned of. Ethan's hand tightened on his rifle. The air crackled with threat, and somewhere, beyond the forest, a mechanical hum grew louder. The air in Lumari City buzzed with a restless energy, the organic spires pulsing faintly under the twilight sky. Ethan Cole stood at the edge of the mind labyrinth, its entrance a shimmering arch of liquid light. The structure loomed, its walls gleaming like polished mirrors, reflecting fragments of his own face. Tangled brown hair, sharp green eyes, and the silver pendant glinting at his throat. His recklessness had landed him here, after his brash words offended Silvara and stirred the Lumari's distrust. The memory of her cold rebuke stung, but he pushed it down. Focus, Ethan. The Unity Trials were his shot to prove humanity's worth, and to keep his promise to reshape the stars. His pulse translator vibrated against his wrist, its screen flickering with static. The device struggled to decode the Lumari's electrical pulses, their collective consciousness, the light stream, flowing like a river he couldn't touch. Ethan's fingers brushed the pendant, his sister's name etched in cold metal. Stay sharp. He wasn't just fighting for himself. The Vrax Armada, led by their obsessive leader Clive, wanted the light stream and the wormhole gates. If Ethan failed, both worlds would burn. Silvara approached, her silver skin catching the arch's glow. Her violet eyes were guarded, her optic fiber, hair dim with tension. The patterns on her skin pulsed slowly, a sign of restraint. The mind labyrinth tests your spirit, she said, her voice crisp like wind over glass. The light stream will expose your fears. Resist, and it will break you. Ethan forced a grin, hiding his unease. Sounds like fun. Any tips, or am I diving in blind? Her gaze softened, just for a moment. Listen to the light stream, Ethan. It is not your enemy. She hesitated, then added, your recklessness. It saved me once. But here, it may destroy you. He nodded, his throat tight. Her words carried weight, a flicker of the trust they'd started to build. But the sting of their argument lingered. Fix this later, Ethan. He stepped toward the arch, the air humming with static. The crowd of Lumari watched, Farah's golden eyes stern, others curious or hostile. A gray-skinned warrior, Zykor, stood apart, his red eyes burning. Ethan's gut twisted. That guy was trouble. The arch swallowed him, and the world shifted. The labyrinth's walls shimmered, reflecting not just his face but his memories. The air grew heavy, thick with the metallic scent of Lumari technology and a faint, sweet tang of sap. A low hum vibrated through his bones, the light stream pressing against his mind like a tide. His translator buzzed, overwhelmed, spitting fragmented words. Fear, truth, surrender. Ethan's vision blurred. The walls dissolved, and he was back on the colony ship, flames licking the walls. His sister's scream echoed, sharp and raw. Ethan, run! He saw her, trapped behind a collapsing bulkhead, her eyes wide with terror. The Varax drones swarmed, their red eyes glowing. Ethan lunged, but his hands passed through her, the scene fading to ash. His chest heaved, the pendant searing against his skin. It's not real. The labyrinth shifted again. Now he stood in his father's lab, the old man's face etched with shame. You're a failure, Ethan, his father spat, voice dripping with scorn. Just like me. Ethan clenched, his fists, his recklessness flaring. He wanted to shout, to fight, but the light stream tightened, a crushing weight. His translator sparked, its screen cracking. The collective consciousness demanded he submit, merge, lose himself. Ethan resisted, his individuality a burning core. I'm not them. A new image formed, Silvara, her patterns blazing red. You are chaos, she said, her voice cold. You will ruin us all. She turned away, vanishing into darkness. Ethan's heart lurched. No. His recklessness surged, urging him to chase her, to prove her wrong. He took a step, but the floor rippled, throwing him to his knees. The hum grew deafening, a chorus of voices pulling at his mind. Get out of my head, Ethan roared, slamming his fist against the wall. Pain shot through his hand, grounding him. The images flickered, weakening. He staggered to his feet, breathing hard. The light stream wasn't just testing his fears. It was trying to drown him in them. Think, Ethan? His eyes caught a faint glow in the wall, a subtle distortion. A device, hidden, pulsing with rogue energy. Sabotage. Ethan ripped open his translator, exposing its wiring. His fingers moved fast, rewiring it to emit a counterpulse. Sparks flew, the device whining. He aimed it at the wall, and a sharp crack echoed. The glow died, the hum faltering. The images vanished, leaving only the mirrored walls. Ethan's legs shook, his head throbbing. He'd failed the trial, unable to merge with the light stream. But he'd found something. Someone didn't want him to pass. He stumbled out of the labyrinth, the crowd's murmurs washing over him. Silvara rushed forward, her patterns flaring with worry. Ethan, you're alive, she said, her voice softer now. But you fought the light stream. Why? It was rigged, Ethan rasped, holding up the damaged translator. Someone planted a device, wanted me to lose my mind in there. Silvara's eyes widened, her patterns dimming. Sabotage. She glanced at the crowd, her gaze lingering on Zykor. His red eyes met hers, unreadable. Before he turned away, Farah stepped forward, her voice like stone. You failed the first trial, human. The light stream rejected you. Her golden eyes narrowed. Prove yourself in the Death Canyon, or leave our world. Ethan's jaw clenched, his recklessness simmering. He'd screwed up, but he wasn't done. He looked at Silvara, her expression a mix of doubt and hope. I'll pass the next one, he said, his voice firm. Count on it. Silvara nodded, but her patterns pulsed unevenly. Be careful, Ethan, she said, her voice low. The light stream, it sees more than you know. As the crowd dispersed, Ethan's translator flickered, a single word flashing on its cracked screen. Destroyer. His hand tightened around the pendant, the weight of Zykor's warning echoing in his mind. The air vibrated, a faint mechanical hum rising from the forest beyond the city. Something was coming. And it wasn't Lumari. The emerald forest glowed softly, its towering trees casting pools of blue-green light across the mossy ground. Ethan Cole sat on a fallen log, the cool air heavy with the sweet, metallic scent of alien sap. His pulse translator lay in his lap, its cracked screen dark after the mind labyrinth sabotage. The trial's failure stung, a bitter reminder of his recklessness. He'd fought the light stream, defied its pull, and nearly lost himself. Worse, he'd seen Silvara's doubt in her violet eyes. His fingers brushed the silver pendant at his neck, his sister's name, a silent anchor. "Stay sharp, Ethan." Silvara stood a few paces away, her silver skin shimmering under the starlight. Her optic fiber hair swayed gently, catching the forest's glow. The patterns on her skin pulsed slowly, a mix of calm and tension. She gazed at the canopy, her posture rigid, as if wrestling with unspoken thoughts. Ethan wanted to fix the rift between them, but his brash words in Lumari's city still hung heavy. "You know nothing of our sacrifices," she'd said. He needed her trust, not just for the Unity trials, but to face the Vrax Armada and their leader, Clive. "Silvara," Ethan said, his voice rough but steady. "Can we talk? Or are we still pretending I'm the galaxy's biggest screw-up?" She turned, her eyes narrowing, but a faint smile tugged at her lips. "You are reckless, Ethan Cole," she said, her voice like chimes in the wind. "But not a screw-up, not yet." She stepped closer, her patterns brightening slightly. "Speak. I will listen." Ethan exhaled, leaning forward. "I'm sorry about what I said. Calling your rituals. Whatever I called them. I didn't mean to disrespect your people." He rubbed the back of his neck, his recklessness simmering beneath the surface. Losing my sister to the Vrax mess me up. Makes me jump first, think later." Silvara's patterns softened, her gaze settling on the pendant. "Your sister," she said, her voice quieter. "She was taken?" "Yeah." Ethan's throat tightened. "Vrax drones hit our colony ship. She told me to run. I didn't." His fingers clenched the pendant, the metal biting into his palm. "I've been running ever since, trying to make it right." Silvara sat beside him, her presence warm despite the cool air. "I understand loss," she said, her patterns dimming. "My family died to the Vrax too. My research into humans, your resilience, your chaos. It cost me my place among the Lumari. They call me traitor, say I betray the light stream." Her voice wavered, a rare crack in her composure. "Yet I believe our worlds can unite." Ethan met her eyes, seeing the weight she carried. "That's why you're out here, fighting for this alliance," he said. "You're not just a scientist, you're a believer." Her smile returned, small but genuine. "And you, Ethan, are a warrior, reckless but brave." She paused, her patterns pulsing thoughtfully. "Our ways differ. Lumari act as one, guided by the light stream's collective will. Humans, you act alone, driven by heart." Ethan chuckled, the tension easing. "Yeah, we're pretty good at making a mess before we fix it." His grin faded as he gestured to the translator. "But this Vrax thing, Clive the Armada, they're coming for both of us. We need to figure out how to fight them, together." Silvara's expression hardened. "Clive seeks perfection," she said. "The light stream and your wormhole gates could let him rebuild his lost world. But we cannot rush, Ethan. We must understand their plan." Ethan's recklessness flared. "Understand? We should hit them now, before they get closer." His voice rose, sharper than intended. "The longer we wait, the more time Clive has to—" "Enough!" Silvara snapped, her patterns flaring red. She stood, her hair shimmering with agitation. "Your haste blinds you. The light stream demands precision, not chaos. If we act without knowledge, we doom both our worlds." Ethan shot to his feet, his jaw tight. "And your overthinking could get us killed. You think Clive's sitting around analyzing data?" He gestured to the forest, his voice echoing. "He's out there, planning to rip your light stream apart." Silvara's eyes blazed, but she took a breath. her pattern steadying. "You speak from fear," she said. Softer now. "I too fear, but we must be more than our impulses." She stepped closer, her voice firm. "Work with me, Ethan. Combine your courage with my knowledge." Ethan's anger cooled, her words cutting through his haze. He nodded, exhaling. "All right, let's do this your way. For now." He picked up the translator, its weight grounding him. "How about we start by fixing this thing? Make it better at reading your light stream." Silvara's patterns brightened, a spark of approval in her eyes. "A good beginning," she said. They sat again, their hands brushing as they worked on the device. The forest hummed around them, its glow a quiet promise of unity. But the moment shattered. A sharp beep cut through the air, the translator's screen flaring to life. A distorted signal pulsed, laced with a mechanical whine. Ethan's heart sank. He tapped the screen, and a fragmented image appeared. A sleek, metallic form with red eyes. Vrax. The signal stabilized, revealing a Lumari warrior in the shadows. Zykor, his gray skin stark, his voice a low growl. "They're here." Zykor hissed, his words barely audible. "The Armada moves." Ethan's hand tightened on the translator, his recklessness surging. Silvara's patterns flared, her eyes wide with alarm. The forest's hum grew louder, a menacing undertone weaving through the trees. The Vrax were closer than they'd thought. The Death Canyon yawned before Ethan Cole, a jagged scar in Kepler 42b's glowing landscape. Its walls shimmered with bioluminescent vines, their tendrils writhing like living traps. The air was thick, laced with a bitter metallic tang that stung his lungs. Ethan adjusted his breathing mask, the device humming softly, its filters straining against the toxic atmosphere. His pulse translator buzzed on his wrist, its cracked screen flickering after the Vrax signal in the emerald forest. Zykor's warning, "The Armada moves," echoed in his mind. A cold weight beside the silver pendant at his neck. His sister's loss fueled his recklessness, but Silvara's call for precision tempered it. Barely. Silvara stood beside him, her silver skin catching the canyon's eerie glow. Her violet eyes scanned the terrain, her optic fiber hair swaying in the humid breeze. The patterns on her skin pulsed steadily, a sign of focus. But Ethan caught the flicker of worry in her gaze. Their argument in the forest had forged a fragile trust. Their shared work on the translator, a small victory. Now, the second Unity trial loomed, a chance to prove humanity's worth to the Lamari, and to counter the Vrax Armada's looming threat. "The Death Canyon tests your harmony with our world," Silvara said, her voice clear, like chimes over the canyon's low hum. "Its creatures are bound to the light stream, survive them, and retrieve the sigil of unity." Ethan nodded, his grip tightening on his pulse rifle. "Got it. Stay alive. Grab the shiny thing." He flashed a grin, masking the churn in his gut. "Any chance these creatures are friendly?" Silvera's patterns dimmed, her lips pressing thin. "They are not your enemies, Ethan, but they will test you." She handed him a small device, its surface warm and organic. "This sinks you to the light stream, but only for 30 minutes. Longer, and it will burn your mind." Ethan clipped the device to his belt, its faint pulse syncing with his heartbeat. 30 minutes, no pressure. His recklessness stirred, urging him to move, but Silvara's steady gaze held him. "Work with her, Ethan." The canyon's entrance loomed, its vines twitching as if sensing their approach. A crowd of Lumari watched from a safe distance, Thera's golden eyes stern, their scholarly faction curious, the warrior faction glaring. Zykor stood among them, his red eyes unreadable. Ethan's instincts screamed trouble, but he pushed forward. Silvara at his side, the canyon swallowed them, its walls closing in. The hum of the light stream grew louder, vibrating through Ethan's bones. Vines slithered across the ground, their tips glowing with predatory light. A sharp screech echoed, and a creature lunged, a mass of tentacles, its body pulsing with blue-green energy. Ethan raised his rifle, but Silvara grabbed his arm. "Don't fight," she hissed, her patterns flaring. "Sync with it." Ethan's heart pounded, but he activated the sync device. A jolt shot through him, like electricity in his veins. His vision blurred, the creature's thoughts brushing his mind. Hunger, curiosity, Life. He lowered his rifle, his hands trembling. The creature paused, its tentacles curling back, then retreated into the shadows. Ethan exhaled, his head throbbing. That was intense. Silvara's pattern softened. You listened, she said, a note of approval in her voice. The light stream binds all life here. They pressed deeper, the canyon narrowing. The air grew hotter, the metallic tang sharper. Ethan's mask beeped, its filters straining. The sync device pulsed, each second ticking down. Then a low rumble shook the ground. Vines parted, revealing a chasm where a glowing orb, the sigil of unity, floated above a nest of writhing creatures. Ethan stepped forward, but the canyon roared, its walls shuddering. It's Xycor, Silvara said, her voice tight. She pointed to a device embedded in the rock, its red glow alien to the light stream. He's destabilized the environment. Ethan's recklessness surged. That bastard! He sprinted to the device, dodging snapping vines. His fingers tore at its casing, exposing wires that sparked with Vrax's energy. Of course. He rewired it, his hands steady despite the chaos. The rumble faded, but the creatures surged, their screeches deafening. Ethan stumbled, his sync device flashing a warning. 10 minutes left, Silvera now. He shouted, diving for the sigil. She moved, her blade of light flashing, carving a path through the creatures. They didn't attack, only pressed closer, their thoughts a chaotic hum in Ethan's mind. Silvara grabbed the sigil, but a vine lashed out, trapping a group of Limari scholars who'd followed to observe. We can't leave them, Ethan yelled, his voice muffled by the mask. He and Silvera worked as one. She used the light stream to calm the creatures. He hacked the vines with his rifle's bayonet. They freed the scholars, their silver skin pale with fear. But the sigil slipped from Silvera's grasp, tumbling into the chasm. No! Ethan lunged, too late. The orb vanished, the trial lost. His chest heaved, the sync device burning against his skin. They'd saved lives, but failed the objective. Silver's patterns dimmed, her eyes meeting his. You chose lives over glory, she said, her voice soft but firm. That is strength. Ethan nodded, his head pounding. The scholars murmured, some nodding approval. Thera approached, her expression unreadable. You failed, human, she said, her voice like stone. But you showed honor. The council will consider this. As they left the canyon, Ethan caught Xycor's gaze, his red eyes glinting. The warrior turned away, but not before Ethan saw the flicker of calculation. He's playing both sides. A hologram flickered in the distance, its form sharp and mechanical. Clive's voice cut through the air, cold and metallic. The light stream will be ours. Your gates will open the way. Ethan's hand tightened on his rifle, his recklessness boiling. The Vrax were here, and they were watching. Lumari's city trembled, its organic spires quaking as the Vrax armada descended. Sleek, metallic ships sliced through Kepler 482b's twilight sky, their red eyes glowing like dying stars. The air crackled with the sharp whine of plasma cannons, each blast searing the glowing architecture. Ethan Cole sprinted through the chaos, his pulse rifle humming in his hands. The silver pendant at his neck bounced against his chest, a reminder of his sister's loss. And his promise to Silvara. The Unity trials had forged a fragile trust between them, but now that trust faced its ultimate test. The Vrax, led by the relentless Clive, had come for the light stream and the wormhole gates. Silvara ran beside him, her silver skin flashing under the city's pulsing lights. Her optic fiber hair whipped in the wind, her violet eyes sharp with determination. The patterns on her skin blazed, a storm of emotion, fear, resolve, and something deeper. Clive wants the light stream to rebuild his kind, she shouted, over the din, her voice like chimes cutting through the roar. We must protect the core. Ethan nodded, his recklessness tempered by her steady presence. Got it. Lead the way. His breathing mask hissed, filtering the acrid air thick, with smoke and the metallic tang of burning tech. His pulse translator buzzed, struggling to decode the light stream's frantic pulses as Lumari fled in all directions. The city's central plaza loomed ahead, its core, a towering crystal pulsing with blue-green energy, radiating the light stream's power. Lumari warriors clashed with Vrax drones, their light blades flashing against mechanical claws. Ethan's stomach twisted. The drones moved with eerie precision, their red eyes scanning for weaknesses. Above, Clyde's flagship hovered, its hull a jagged scar against the stars. "We're too exposed," Ethan yelled, ducking behind a shattered spire. A plasma bolt sizzled past, scorching the ground. He returned fire, his rifle's pulses sparking against a drone's armor. It staggered but kept coming, its claws screeching against the stone. Silvara's hand glowed, her connection to the light stream flaring. She thrust her palm forward, and a wave of energy pulsed outward, knocking the drone back. "The core's defenses are failing," she said, her patterns flickering. "Clyde's hacking the system." Ethan's mind raced. His Earth Alliance training kicked in. Hack the hack. He slung his rifle and pulled a portable console from his belt, its screen flickering to life. "Cover me," he said, his fingers flying over the controls. The console whined, linking to the city's network. Lines of code scrolled, laced with Vrax signatures. "Got you." He rerouted power, overloading the drone's sensors. A dozen sparked and collapsed, their red eyes dimming. Silvara's patterns brightened, a spark of approval in her eyes. "Well done, warrior," she said, but her voice tightened. "Clyde's not done." A hologram flared in the plaza, Clyde's form towering over the chaos. His cybernetic body gleamed, half organic, half machine, his eyes burning red. "Lumari humans," he intoned, his voice a cold rasp. "Your light stream will restore my kind. Your gates will carry us to eternity. Surrender, or perish." Ethan's blood boiled. "Restore," he muttered. "You killed my sister for your twisted dream." He glanced at Silvara, her patterns dim with fear. Clyde's obsession with perfection stemmed from the Vrax's destruction, a wound that drove him to conquer. But Ethan saw no honor in it, only death. The ground shook as Vrax drones poured in, overwhelming the Lumari warriors. Thera and her scholarly faction retreated, their light blades faltering. The warrior faction, loyal to Zikor, broke ranks, shouting defiance but scattering under the onslaught. Ethan's console beeped. A Vrax code was burrowing deeper into the core. "No time. Silvara, we need to—" Ethan's words cut off as her patterns flared red, her body jerking. She gasped, clutching her head, her eyes wide with panic. "The code, it's in me," she whispered, her voice trembling. A faint red glow pulsed in her patterns, a Vrax infection. Ethan's heart lurched. "Hold on." He grabbed her arm, steadying her. His translator sparked, picking up fragments of the light stream. Intrusion. Corruption. He yanked the sync device from his belt, its warm surface pulsing. "I'm linking you to the light stream. Fight it." Silvara nodded, her breath ragged. Ethan activated the device, a jolt shooting through them both. The light stream surged, a tidal wave in his mind. Her fear, her strength, her will. He held her gaze, his voice firm. "You're stronger than this, Silvara. Come back." Her patterns flickered, the red glow fading, then flaring again. She screamed, collapsing to her knees. The drones closed in, their claws glinting. Ethan fired, his pulses driving them back, but the core's light dimmed, its defenses crumbling. The Vrax code was winning. Thera's voice cut through the chaos, sharp and commanding. "Human, you bring ruin." She stood with the scholars, her golden eyes blazing. "This alliance is a mistake." The warrior faction echoed her, their pulses accusing Ethan. Ethan's recklessness surged, but he swallowed it. "We're not done yet," he shouted, his voice raw. He turned to Silvara, her body trembling. The sync device burned against his skin, its timer flashing, 5 minutes left. He couldn't save her and the core. A shadow moved. Zikor, his gray skin stark, his red eyes glinting. He stepped forward, light blade in hand. "I know Clyde's code," he said, his voice a low growl. "Trust me, human, or she dies." Ethan's hand tightened on his rifle, his instincts screaming betrayal. Zikor had sabotaged the labyrinth, allied with the Vrax. But Silvara's patterns flickered, her life slipping away. No choice. He lowered his weapon, his voice hard. "Do it." But if you screw us, you're next. Zykor's lips curled, a faint smirk. He knelt beside Silvara, his blade humming as he traced the air, pulses syncing with her patterns. The red glow dimmed, but the core flickered. Vrak's drones seizing the plaza. Thera and her scholars fled, the warriors abandoning their posts. Ethan stood over Silvara, his rifle raised, the city falling around them. The hologram of Clive flickered, his voice a chilling promise. You cannot stop perfection. Ethan's pendant burned against his chest, his sister's voice echoing. Stay sharp. He glanced at Silvara, her pattern stabilizing, then at Zykor, his intentions unclear. The core's light faded, the Vraks closing in. They were out of time. The hum of Lumari City had faded to a hollow whisper, its organic spires dim under the weight of defeat. Ethan Cole crouched in a hidden bunker beneath the city, the air thick with the acrid sting of scorched metal, and the faint, sweet tang of alien sap. His pulse rifle rested against the wall, its barrel warm from the battle. The silver pendant at his neck felt heavy, a tether to his sister's memory as the Vrax Armada's siege tightened its grip. Silvara sat across from him, her silver skin pale, her violet eyes clouded with exhaustion. The red glow of Clythe's code had faded from her patterns, thanks to Zykor's intervention. But the cost was clear. She was weakened. Her connection to the light stream fraying. Ethan's pulse translator lay in his lap, its cracked screen flickering with static. The device had caught fragments of Silvara's struggle against the Vrax code, a chilling reminder of how close they'd come to losing her. His recklessness had urged him to fight, to act, but her steady resolve had kept them alive. Now, in this fleeting calm, he needed to rebuild their trust. The city above was half lost, the core compromised, and Thera's scholars had abandoned the alliance. Zykor's motives remained a shadowed question mark. You okay? Ethan asked, his voice low, raw from the smoke. He leaned forward, his green eyes searching hers. That Vrax code. It nearly took you. Silvara's patterns pulsed faintly, a mix of gratitude and fear. I am here, she said, her voice like chimes, softer now. Because of you. Your voice. It reached me through the light stream. She touched her temple, her optic fiber, hair dim. But the code lingers, a shadow in my mind. Ethan's chest tightened. He reached out, hesitating, then let his hand rest near hers. We'll get it out, he said, his tone firm. You're tougher than Clythe's tech. He tapped the pendant, grounding himself. My sister used to say, keep fighting, even when it's dark. So we keep fighting. Silvara's patterns brightened, a small smile curving her lips. Your sister was wise, she said. Her gaze fell to the pendant, lingering. Tell me of her, Ethan. In this moment, let us share truth. He exhaled, the memory sharp. Her name was Leela. Always smarter than me, always pushing me to be better. His voice cracked, but he pressed on. When the Vrax hit our ship, she stayed behind to seal a breach. Saved half the crew. Not me, though. I froze. His fingers clenched the pendant, the metal biting his palm. I've been running from that ever since. Silvara's hand covered his, her touch cool but steady. You honor her now, she said, her patterns pulsing gently. Your courage, your chaos. It saved me. She paused, her voice softening. I fear losing the light stream, Ethan. It is my people, my soul. But I fear failing this alliance more. Ethan met her eyes, seeing the weight of her exile, her belief in him. You're not failing, he said. We're in this together. Human chaos, Lumari harmony. Clythe won't know what hit him. Her smile widened, a spark of warmth in the dim bunker. Together, she echoed, her patterns flaring. There, hands lingered, the air between them electric. The bunker's door hissed open, and Zykor stepped in, his gray skin stark under the faint light. His red eyes glinted, his light blade sheathed but ready. The Vrax are regrouping, he said, his voice a low growl. Clythe's plan is clear. He'll use the light stream to rebuild his kind's consciousness, stored in his ship's core. Your gate's human, I will let him spread it across the stars. Ethan's jaw tightened. Perfection, huh? Sounds like a fancy way to say, control everything. He stood, his recklessness simmering. What's your angle, Zykor? You're helping now. But you rigged the labyrinth. Zykor's lips curled, a faint smirk. I sought to protect my people, he said. The Vrax offered power, but I saw their truth. Slavery, not salvation. I know Clythe's code. Use me, or lose her. His eyes flicked to Silvara, unreadable. Silvara's patterns dimmed, her voice sharp. You betrayed us, Zykor. Why trust you now? Because I know loss, he said. His voice low, raw. The humans took my kin in a skirmish years ago. I hated you, Cole. But Clythe's path leads to ruin. Ethan's instinct screamed caution, but they had no choice. Fine, he said, his tone hard. But you're on a short leash. Footsteps echoed and Thera entered, her green-tinted skin glowing faintly. Her golden eyes softened, a shift from her earlier fury. The scholars we consider, she said, her voice steady. Your actions saved lives in the canyon, human. Prove this alliance, and we fight with you. Ethan nodded, hope flickering. He and Silvara worked fast, upgrading the sync device with Zykor's data. Its warm pulse quickened, but a warning flashed. Extended use could fry their neural pathways. Silvara's hand brushed Ethan's, her patterns flaring. A silent vow. Together, the bunker shook, a deep boom rattling the walls. Ethan's translator flared, its screen showing a Vrax signal. Clythe's voice rasped through, cold and final. The light stream is mine. Your city falls. Silvara gasped, her patterns flickering red. The code, she whispered, clutching her chest. It's waking. Ethan grabbed her shoulders, his voice urgent. Fight it, Silvara. We're not done. But her eyes clouded, the red glow spreading. The bunker's lights dimmed, the hum of the light stream faltering. Clythe's laughter echoed, a blade in the dark. The core was lost, and Silvara was slipping. Time was gone. Lumari City burned, its organic spires trembling under the Vrax Armada's relentless assault. The air was a choking haze of smoke and scorched metal, the sweet tang of alien sap now bitter with destruction. Ethan Cole sprinted toward the city's core, his pulse rifle slung across his back, its weight a grim reminder of the stakes. The silver pendant at his neck bounced, his sister's name etched in cold metal, urging him forward. Silvara ran beside him, her silver skin flickering with erratic patterns, the red glow of Clythe's code pulsing faintly in her veins. Her violet eyes were fierce, but her breath came in sharp gasps, the light stream's hold on her weakening. They had one shot to stop the Vrax, and it would cost them everything. The core loomed ahead, a towering crystal pulsing faintly, its blue-green light dimming as Vrax drones swarmed. Their claws screeched against the stone, red eyes glowing with mechanical hunger. Above, Clythe's flagship cast a jagged shadow, its plasma cannons roaring. Ethan's pulse translator buzzed, its cracked screen flashing warnings. Core breach imminent. The sync device at his belt burned, its 30-minute limit long expired, each pulse searing his nerves. Silvara's own device flickered, her infection threatening to turn her into Clythe's weapon. We end this now, Ethan shouted, his voice raw over the chaos. His recklessness surged, tempered by Silvara's resolve. Get to the core, shut it down. Silvara nodded, her patterns flaring with defiance. Together, she said, her voice like chimes, steady despite the pain. Her light blade glowed, carving through a drone's armor. As they pushed forward, Thera and Zykor flanked them, a fragile alliance forged in desperation. Thera's golden eyes burned, her scholar faction wielding light shields to hold the line. Zykor's gray skin gleamed with sweat, his light blade flashing as he cut down drones, his warrior faction rallying behind him. Clythe's code is in the core, Zykor growled, his voice rough. Sever it or the light stream falls. Ethan's jaw tightened. Zykor's betrayal in the mind labyrinth lingered, but his data had saved Silvara. Barely. Trust him for now. They reached the core, its crystal fractured, leaking energy in wild arcs. Drones converged, their claws snapping. Ethan fired, his pulses sparking against their armor, but they kept coming. Relentless. A hologram flared, Clythe's cybernetic form towering over the plaza, his half-organic face twisted, red eyes blazing. I will restore my kind, he rasped, his voice a cold blade. "The light stream will carry our consciousness. Your gates will spread our perfection. Resistance is futile." Ethan's blood boiled. "Perfection," he spat, dodging a drone's claw. "You're a butcher, Clive. You killed my sister for your sick dream." He glanced at Silvara, her patterns flickering red, her body trembling. Cleith is past, his people's destruction drove him, but Ethan saw only a tyrant. Silvara clutched her chest, her voice strained. "The code, it's pulling me." Her eyes met Ethan's, a plea and a promise. "Don't let me fall." "Never," Ethan said, his voice fierce. He grabbed his console, its screen flickering as he hacked the core's defenses. The Varax code was deep. A digital cancer. Need more time. But the drones pressed closer, and Silvara's patterns dimmed, the red glow spreading. Zikor shoved past, his blade flashing. "I'll hold them," he roared, diving into the swarm. His warriors followed, their shouts echoing as they bought precious seconds. Thera's Salos formed a perimeter, their shields glowing. Ethan's heart pounded. Now or never. He turned to Silvara, his hands steady despite the chaos. "We sink, full power. It'll fry the code, but..." He hesitated, the truth heavy. "It'll burn us out, your lightstream connection. It might not survive." Silvara's patterns flared, a mix of fear and resolve. "I choose this," she said, her voice unwavering. "For our worlds." She gripped his hand, her touch electric, her patterns blending with his sync device's glow. Ethan's throat tightened. He pulled the sync device, its surface scorching, and linked it to Silvara's. A jolt shot through them, the light stream roaring in his mind. Her strength, her fear, her belief in him. "Do it," he said, his voice breaking. They activated the sync, a blinding wave of energy erupting from the core. The light stream surged, a tidal force burning out Clyde's code. Drones sparked and collapsed, their red eyes dimming. The core flared, its light stabilizing, but the cost hit hard. Silvara screamed, her patterns fading, the red glow gone but her connection to the light stream severed. Ethan's vision blurred, his nerves screaming, the sync device crumbling to ash. The plaza fell silent, the drones inert, the flagship retreating. Zikor staggered back, bloodied but alive, his warriors cheering. Thera lowered her shield, her eyes wide with awe. "You saved the light stream," she said, her voice soft. Ethan knelt beside Silvara, her breathing shallow, her skin dull. "Silvara, stay with me," he whispered, his hand cradling her face. Her violet eyes fluttered open, a faint smile curving her lips. "We did it," she murmured, her voice weak. "Together." But the victory was hollow. Ethan's console beeped, a final message from Commander Harris flashing, "Return now, Cole, or you're cut off." He stared at the screen, his heart sinking. The sync had fried his comms, severing his link to Earth. Silvara's sacrifice, her lightstream connection, was permanent, her strength diminished. They'd won. But at a price. Clythe's hologram flickered one last time, his voice a chilling promise. "You delay perfection, but I will return." The image faded, his flagship vanishing into the stars. Ethan helped Silvara stand, her weight leaning against him. Zikor approached, his red eyes softened, a nod of respect. "You're no destroyer, human," he said, his voice low. "You're a bridge." Thera stepped forward, her voice steady. "The Council will honor this alliance. We fight as one." Ethan's pendant burned against his chest, his sister's voice echoing. "Keep fighting." He looked at Silvara, her patterns faint, but her eyes bright with hope. They'd saved the city, but Clive was still out there, and their sacrifices had changed them forever. A faint hum rose from the core, the light streams stirring. Ethan's translator sparked, a single word flashing. Destiny. The stars above held secrets, and the war was far from over. Lumari City stood reborn, its organic spires gleaming under Kepler 442b's starlit sky. The scars of the Vrax Armada's siege lingered, cracked crystal, scorched moss, but a new harmony pulsed through the air. Human steel wove into Lumari architecture, a testament to the fragile alliance forged in fire. Ethan Cole stood atop a towering spire, the cool breeze carrying the sweet metallic tang of alien sap. His pulse rifle was gone, replaced by a diplomat's resolve, though his recklessness simmered beneath the surface. The silver pendant at his neck gleamed, his sister's name a quiet strength. Faint patterns glowed on his skin, a remnant of the light stream's touch, marking him as something more than human. Silvera stood beside him, her silver skin dulled, her optic fiber hair swaying gently. The sacrifice to purge Clythe's code had cost her much. Her connection to the light stream was severed, leaving her patterns faint, her strength diminished. Yet her violet eyes burned with purpose, her presence a steady anchor. The city below buzzed with life. Lumari scholars and warriors worked alongside Earth Alliance engineers, their voices a blend of electrical pulses and human chatter. The air hummed, not with war, but with possibility. "We did this," Ethan said, his voice low, tinged with awe. He glanced at Silvara, her faint smile warming the night. "Your city, my people. Together." Silvara's patterns flickered, a spark of pride. "You were the bridge, Ethan," she said, her voice like chimes, soft but clear. "Your chaos, my harmony. They built this." Her hand brushed his, her touch cool but electric, a silent echo of their shared sacrifice. Ethan's chest tightened. He'd lost his link to Earth, his comms fried in the Corps' defense. Commander Harris's final message, "You're cut off," had severed his old life. He was a man without a home. Yet standing here with Silvara, he felt anchored. "Worth it," he said, his grin crooked. "Though Harris is probably cussing my name back on Earth." Silvara's smile widened, her eyes glinting. "Let him curse," she said. "You chose us. That is enough." She paused, her patterns dimming. "I fear what I've lost. The light stream was my soul. But I am still Lumari. And I am with you." Ethan reached into his pocket, pulling out the silver pendant. He'd added a Lumari rune to it, a swirling pattern of unity. "For you," he said, pressing it into her hand. "So you know you're not alone." Silvara's fingers closed around it, her patterns flaring briefly. She reached into her belt, producing a memory crystal, its surface glowing with captured light. "And this for you," she said, her voice soft. "Our moment in the core, when we were one." She placed it in his palm, her touch lingering. Their eyes met, the city's wake fading to a distant pulse. Ethan's heart raced, not with recklessness, but with something deeper. Together, he tucked the crystal away, its warmth grounding him. Footsteps broke the moment. Thera approached, her green-tinted skin glowing faintly, her golden eyes steady. "The Council is united," she said, her voice like stone softened by time. "Scholars and warriors stand with your alliance. We prepare for the Vrax's return." Zykor followed, his gray skin marked with scars, his red eyes no longer hostile. "I was wrong, human," he said, his voice a low growl. "You're no destroyer. I'll fight beside you." His light blade hung at his side, a silent vow. Ethan nodded, respect flickering. Zykor's betrayal had nearly doomed them, but his redemption in the core had tipped the scales. "Glad you're on our side," Ethan said, his tone dry but genuine. "We'll need every blade." Thera's gaze shifted to the horizon, where stars glittered coldly. "Clythe fled, but his promise lingers," she said. "Perfection is his obsession, and he will not rest." Silvara's patterns dimmed, her voice firm. "Nor will we. Our worlds are one now. Let him come." Ethan's hand brushed the memory crystal, its glow steady. The alliance was signed. Earth and Lumari bound against the Vrax. But the cost was etched in their scars. He was cut off from Earth, a rogue in the eyes of the Alliance. Silvara was severed from the light stream, her soul dimmed. Yet they stood taller, their bond a light against the dark. The city's hum shifted, a faint discord rippling through the air. Ethan's translator, repaired but scarred, sparked to life, its screen flashing a signal, not from Earth, not from the Vrax. It was older, deeper, a pulse that seemed to echo from the stars themselves. The screen flickered, a single phrase forming. "The ancient stirs." Silvara's eyes widened, her patterns pulsing erratically. "The memory crystal," she whispered, her voice trembling. She touched it and a vision flared in Ethan's mind. A future where they led a galactic alliance, Lumari and human united. But a shadow loomed, a vast, formless entity, the ancient that had destroyed the Vrax's ancestors. Its presence whispered of origins shared, a forgotten link between Lumery and humanity, buried in the cosmos. Ethan's grip tightened on Silvera's hand, his recklessness now a fire of purpose. "Whatever that is," he said, his voice steady, "we'll face it. Together." She nodded, her patterns flaring with resolve. The city glowed below, a beacon of unity. The stars above held secrets, ancient and vast, but Ethan and Silvera stood ready, their scars a map of their strength. The ancient watched, its pulse a warning. The war was only beginning.